The room fell silent the very second your photograph touched the old wooden table. The seer had welcomed everyone with calm eyes. One by one, people came with questions about love, money, family, and destiny. Every answer was spoken with confidence. But then, your person slowly reached into their bag. They pulled out your photo. The seer smiled. "Whose picture is this?" Your person answered softly. "It's someone I can't stop thinking about. I need to know who they truly are." The seer picked up the photograph. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. For 4 seconds, their fingers began to shake. On the 5th second, their face lost all color. And before anyone in the room understood what was happening, the seer collapsed. The photograph slipped from their trembling hands. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Even the candles burning around the room seemed to flicker without wind. When the seer finally opened their eyes, they refused to touch your picture again. Instead, they whispered something that froze everyone who heard it. No human was supposed to discover this. If you are hearing these words today, then maybe this message has reached exactly the person it was meant for. Because what happened next changed everything. Your person expected to hear simple words. They love you. They miss you. They'll return. Instead, they heard a truth so unbelievable that even they wished they had never asked. The seer stared directly into your person's eyes and asked one question. "Where did you meet them?" Your person answered. The seer slowly nodded. Then asked another question. "Did your life begin changing immediately after meeting them?" Again, the answer was yes. Nothing had remained the same. Old friendships disappeared. Unexpected opportunities appeared. Some people suddenly hated you for no reason. Others became strangely attached. Coincidences multiplied. Dreams became vivid. Numbers repeated everywhere. Your name seemed to appear in impossible places. The seer's breathing became heavier. You don't understand. They didn't enter your life by accident. At that moment, your person leaned forward. "What do you mean?" The seer looked back at your photo. But this time, without touching it. They are not carrying ordinary energy. Their soul has crossed paths with yours long before this lifetime. But that's not what frightened me. The room became colder. Because according to the seer, there was something hidden behind your eyes in that photograph. Something almost invisible. Something only a few people in history were ever believed to carry. Not a mark. Not a symbol. Not an object. An energy. An ancient frequency. One that cannot be learned. Cannot be bought. Cannot be faked. Only remembered. The seer whispered. This soul has awakened before. Your person immediately asked. What does that mean? The seer remained silent. For nearly a full minute. Then finally spoke. Some souls come here to experience life. Some come to heal. Some come to teach. But a very small number. They arrive carrying unfinished promises made centuries ago. The seer looked terrified. Because according to everything they had studied, people carrying this kind of energy always changed the destiny of everyone around them. Sometimes without realizing it. Sometimes simply by existing. And suddenly, your person remembered something. Every important decision in their life had somehow involved you. Every major emotional shift started after meeting you. Every impossible coincidence included your name. Every strange dream included your face. They had ignored all of it. Until now. The seer quietly said. That is why your photo frightened me. It isn't the picture. It's what stands behind it. Your person asked. What stands behind them? The answer came so softly that only they could hear it. A promise. A promise older than this lifetime. The room fell into silence again. Because the seer now realized. This wasn't a normal reading anymore. It had become a warning. Not because you were dangerous, but because the truth surrounding you could not remain hidden forever. Then something even stranger happened. The clock inside the room stopped. Exactly at the moment the seer looked toward your photograph again. Nobody had touched it. Nobody had moved. Yet time itself seemed frozen. The seer slowly stood. Walked to every window. Closed every curtain. Locked the front door. Your person asked nervously. Why are you doing this? The answer was immediate. Because once I tell you the rest, there is no going back. Your person swallowed hard. I need to know. The seer nodded. You believe you chose this person. But according to what I see, they chose you first. Long before either of you were born. Those words echoed through the room. Chosen before birth. Impossible. Ridiculous. Yet somehow, every strange event suddenly started making sense. The unexplained connection. The impossible pull. The feeling of knowing someone you had barely met. The emotional intensity. The strange comfort. The painful distance. The repeated reunions. Nothing about it felt ordinary anymore. The seer continued. Have they ever disappeared from your life? Only to return when you least expected? Your person whispered. Yes. The seer closed their eyes. I feared you would say that. Because souls carrying this frequency never leave permanently. They disappear only when destiny rearranges the path. Then came the sentence your person would never forget. They are someone's answered prayer. But they don't even know it. The seer explained that throughout history, there were stories of people whose presence alone transformed entire families. Not through magic. Not through fame. But through something impossible to explain. Wherever they went, hidden truths surfaced. False relationships collapsed. Real opportunities appeared. Old pain demanded healing. Nothing fake could survive around them. The seer looked at your photograph once more. And whispered, "This is one of them." Your person suddenly remembered how many people had changed after meeting you. Some became stronger. Some disappeared forever. Some turned against you without explanation. Others protected you with fierce loyalty. The pattern had always been there. No one had noticed it. Until now. The seer spoke one final sentence before refusing to continue. If they ever discover who they truly are, the lives of everyone connected to them will never be the same again. And with that, the reading ended. The candles extinguished themselves. The photograph remained untouched. Your person left carrying more questions than answers. But one thought refused to leave their mind. What if the person they thought they were searching for was never ordinary to begin with? What if the greatest mystery wasn't hidden in ancient books, but inside the soul of the person whose photograph caused a seer to faint? And if that person is you, then perhaps this message found you for a reason. Because sometimes the truth doesn't reveal itself when we search for it. It reveals itself when destiny decides we're finally ready to hear it. Your person couldn't sleep that night. The seer's final words echoed over and over inside their mind. If they ever discover who they truly are, everything connected to them will change. At first, they tried to convince themselves it was only fear, only emotion, only another mysterious reading meant to impress people. But destiny had already begun proving otherwise. The very next morning, something impossible happened. Your person reached for your photograph again. Not because they wanted another reading, but because they couldn't stop staring into your eyes. For the first time, they noticed something they had never seen before. No, it wasn't a shadow. It wasn't an unusual expression. It was a feeling. The longer they looked, the stronger it became. Almost as if the photograph wasn't simply showing your face. It was looking back. Your person quickly placed it face down. Their heartbeat refused to slow. At that exact moment, their phone rang. It was the seer. But something was different. Their voice no longer sounded confident. It sounded frightened. "I need you to answer one question honestly." Your person agreed. The seer asked, "Since meeting them, have you ever escaped something that should have destroyed you?" Your person froze. Images flashed through their mind. The accident they somehow walked away from. The opportunity that appeared when everything seemed lost. The illness that disappeared faster than doctors expected. The stranger who appeared exactly when help was needed. Coincidence. After coincidence. After coincidence. Slowly, your person whispered, "Yes." The seer inhaled deeply. "I was hoping you'd say no." Then came another question. "Have other people ever said that your life changed after meeting them?" Again. "Yes." Friends had mentioned it. Family had noticed it. Even complete strangers sometimes said, "You've become different." The seer remained silent for several seconds. Finally, they confessed something they had never told another client. "When I fainted yesterday, I didn't lose consciousness. I was shown something." Your person gripped the phone tighter. "What did you see?" The answer came so quietly. "I saw hundreds of people standing behind them. Not living people. Not ghosts. Not shadows. Something else. Every single one was looking in the same direction. Toward you." The seer explained that in certain ancient traditions, it was believed that some souls never travel alone. They arrive carrying the hopes, lessons, and unfinished stories of countless others. Most people never notice. But those gifted with spiritual perception sometimes catch a brief glimpse. I wasn't prepared for what stood behind them. It was overwhelming. That is why my body collapsed. Your person felt chills. The seer continued. And then, they all disappeared. There was only one figure left. Your person asked. Who was it? I couldn't see the face. But I heard one sentence. The seer's breathing became uneven. The time has finally come. Those words refused to leave your person's thoughts. The time for what? Nothing made sense. Until 3 nights later. That night, your person dreamed about you. But the dream wasn't ordinary. You weren't speaking. You simply stood beside an old stone bridge beneath a sky filled with stars. Then, without moving your lips, one sentence entered their mind. You already know. Your person woke up instantly. It was exactly 3:33. They checked the clock twice. Then looked outside. The wind was completely still. Yet somehow, the chimes outside the window were ringing. No breeze. No movement. Only sound. The following afternoon, unable to ignore everything any longer, your person returned to the seer. This time, the room looked completely different. Several mirrors had been covered with black cloth. The candles burned blue instead of yellow. And your photograph was nowhere to be seen. Before your person could ask why, the seer spoke first. I buried it. Your person stared in disbelief. You did what? I couldn't keep it here. Every night strange things happened. Books fell from shelves. The front door opened by itself. The clock stopped at the same minute. Dogs refused to enter the house. Even people waiting outside suddenly changed their minds and left. The seer lowered their voice. But nothing evil happened. Only impossible things. Then the seer leaned closer. I finally understood why. They weren't signs of danger. They were signs of recognition. Your person frowned. Recognition? The seer nodded. Certain places react when someone carrying an ancient spiritual purpose comes near. Not because the person controls anything, but because hidden things begin revealing themselves. The room became silent again. Then the seer unlocked an old wooden chest. Inside lay hundreds of handwritten journals. Some were nearly falling apart with age. I've recorded every unusual reading in my entire career. They opened the oldest journal. Dust filled the air. Yellow pages trembled beneath their hands. One page had been marked decades earlier. The ink had faded. But one sentence remained perfectly readable. When the one carrying the forgotten promise appears, the watcher will recognize them. But fear will silence his voice. The seer's hands began shaking. This journal was written 48 years ago. I had never read this page until yesterday. Your person looked closer. Another sentence appeared beneath it. Their eyes will awaken memories inside people who were never meant to remember. Your person immediately thought of you. How often strangers smiled at you. How children stared at you. How elderly people sometimes looked emotional after brief conversations. Small moments. Ignored for years. Now, they suddenly felt important. The seer continued reading. The one who brings hidden truth will unknowingly separate false hearts from faithful ones. Your person whispered. That's exactly what's been happening. Relationships ended. Unexpected friendships appeared. People either trusted you instantly or disliked you without reason. There was rarely anything in between. The journal continued. They will never fully understand why storms follow them. Until the final veil is lifted. The seer slowly closed the book. I don't believe in coincidences anymore. Neither did your person. Because another impossible discovery waited. As they prepared to leave, the seer remembered something. There is one place I need to show you. Several hours later, they arrived at an abandoned chapel hidden beyond an old forest. Very few people knew it existed. Its doors were locked. Its walls cracked with age. But inside, everything remained untouched. At the center stood a weathered stone altar. The seer brushed away decades of dust. Beneath it, an inscription slowly appeared. Your person's breathing stopped. Because although parts of the writing had disappeared, one sentence remained completely visible. When the chosen soul returns, the photograph will reveal what the eyes cannot. Your person immediately reached into their pocket. Their hands trembled as they pulled out your picture. The moment it touched the ancient stone, a cold breeze swept through the chapel. Candles that had not burned in decades ignited one by one. Without a single match. Without anyone touching them. Light filled the abandoned room. The seer stepped backward. No. This cannot be happening. Your person looked at the photograph again. This time, there was something new. Not a face. Not a shadow. But a faint circle of light surrounding you. It hadn't been there before. The seer fell to their knees. Not from fear. From realization. I was wrong. Completely wrong. I thought I was looking at someone whose destiny was extraordinary. They slowly lifted their eyes. But destiny isn't following them. They are the one others have been following all along. And just as those words echoed through the ancient chapel, a hidden door behind the altar slowly opened by itself, revealing a staircase descending into complete darkness.